Okay, if you're here, you either watched the other video about how to remove our cup and cone bottom bracket set from these threaded old school bottom brackets. This is a older, I don't even know what year, DK model Century that I acquired. And the bottom bracket was really dirty, full of a lot of things. And the other video I showed you how to have some tools to remove all that, which you can see here. This was a 20 spline, and the name of it was just a 20 spline socket, and then I ended up having to get a separate one. And then we have the actual tooth. I don't know what to call that, but you got a single hook spanner, apparently is what this is called by Park Tool. And then just an adjustable wrench to grab this guy with. And here's the resulting pieces. You have the locking mechanism here. You have your spline, 2 ball bearings. This is a spacer. It fits inside this guy. This is your cup and cone set, and I don't know which one's cup and cone, but I'm going to guess. I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to call it that. This is the one without the locking mechanism, and this is the one with the locking mechanism. So we're going to go ahead and start putting these things back on. I'm going to start with the locking mechanism. And he is going to go over on this side. And just screw right in. Wait, that's loosey. So on the right side, he loosens up, and on the left side is where the tension comes in. So because he's on the right side where the gear is, this guy actually tightens by turning to the left. And I mentioned in the previous video I had broken off this outer locking mechanism when I didn't know that. So that was a fun lesson learned. By fun, it meant going to a local bike shop, having them look through about 30 different cup and cone sets till they found one that matched. So this guy, because I don't have anything poking through him, I can go ahead and use this incorrect tool, because I say incorrect because he's got a square here and it doesn't fit this axle. So okay, once he's good and tight, we can move on to the next part. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down so that I can show these pieces off. So inside here we got to fit the 8 sprocket spline axle. I don't know exactly what to call this piece. And my spacer, your 2 bearings, and then the actual other end of the cup and cone set. So when you grab this guy here, it's important to note that this square side, that your bearings have a flatter side and the kind of a rounder ball side. And this flatter side, even though this is curved here, it's going to push up against this. And that's going to allow the balls to rotate nicely with this 8 sprocket spline axle for your actual cranks. So you just have to know what direction things go on there. And a lot of other things that I've seen, they mention it's good to add a little bit of grease to your bearings. So we're going to go ahead and grease this guy up, put him on flat, and just go ahead and put this inside there. Now we have this bearing set, which I'm going to do the same thing. But first I'm going to grab this adjustable cup and cone piece, and this spacer fits right in there. And the spacer is necessary on this model at least. You can get multiple spacers if needed, but it allows this to stick out far enough for the locking mechanism piece, which we'll add on later. If this model doesn't have the spacer, this fits all the way in there and there's no way to add the locking mechanism. So now we're going to go ahead and throw the bearings back in there. And here we are on this side. This is the left side, so he gets to actually rotate the way I'm used to everything's rotating, which is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Now I have this tool. Like I said, this other tool that I had seems like it would work. Then it gets so far, and because this is not a four-sided piece here, it ends up only going so far before you just can't do anything more. So I had to buy this extra piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this guy down, and I'm going to see if I can feel, I don't know, some sort of pressure level, because people at the bike shop, they just said to make sure that it's tight, super tight, and I don't know what that really means, because I have these ball bearings in there, and that just seems like if I over tighten it, those ball bearings, even though they are, lubricated with this Polylube 1000 grease, just seems like you can over tighten them. Point is, you don't want this guy to be able to wobble, so we'll see what it looks like. This is the first time I've tightened this down because I had the wrong tools before, so I'll be learning a little bit as you're watching me. So I think I can still hand tighten this. I'm just going to do that. There's a point where I can't anymore. So as you can see, even though I hand tightened it, he doesn't really wobble too much. So we're just going to give him a good seems pretty tight. I just want to throw this crank on here real quick to see what that feels like before I add the outer. Yeah, I mean, that seems really smooth still. Nothing's moving, so I think that's maybe one more for good luck. Let's see what happens. Just a little, sure, why not? Now that we have this piece tightened down to the best of my abilities anyway, I don't know if it's too tight or not, we get to this outer lock. Now this is the piece, if you watch the other video that I showed you, I think I have the wrong side here. Yep, here it is. This is where I tried to hit it with a screwdriver. At that point, that was even the wrong direction because that was actually on the other side, and it doesn't really seem like there's a reason why this can't go one way or the other. So now that I'm going to slide this guy back on here and use the appropriate tool to tighten him down, which I may not be able to do while holding the camera, so I'm just going to show you wrong side. Here we go. Put that guy in there. Fits pretty nicely. And this guy just tightens down to lock that mechanism in place. Seems pretty good. I don't know how tight these things are supposed to go, but seeing as this is what's holding your whole weight, it seems like it's good to make that tight. So in theory, if I grab this arm real quick again, that should be everything that's needed to put this bottom bracket back together. There we go. And it spins very smoothly. And that should hopefully loosen up. Or by loosen up, I mean grease up. This is not a sealed bracket, as you can see some of the oil. So it seems like this is a maintenance that will have to be done periodically. It'd be good to know how often people take these things apart to make sure that they're super smooth. But I think that's it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the arms back on here and call it a day. And pretty excited about that. This nice old bike will feel good again. Thanks for watching.